sun sets, I come alive. The world keeps running, but I stand still, obeying your command, Yahuwah's will. No working hands, no toilet ground, only peace and joy abound. A day of rest, a gift so true, Yahuwah, I delight in you. Shabbat shalom, a time of peace, a quarter sign that will not cease. I lay it down, I leave it all, and in your presence I stand tall. No buy or sell it, just pure delight in Yahuwah's rest from evening light. A day for worship, a time to be with family close and heart set free. I hear your voice in stillness deep. You call me close, my soul to keep. Your love surrounds, your spirit leads. You give me rest, you meet my needs. Set apart from worldly ways, I lift my voice in songs of praise. You're coming in, forever stands. I trust, obey, and lift my hands. The work is done, the table set. Your Sabbath peace I won't forget. I breathe it in, I let it flow. A glimpse of what's to come, I know. Shabbat shalom, a time of peace, a quarter sign that will not cease. I lay it down, I leave it all, and in your presence I stand tall. From week to week, this truth remains, a day of joy and touched by chains. Oh Yahuwah, my King, my rest, in your Sabbath I am blessed. No buy and sell it, just pure delight in Yahuwah's rest from evening light. No buy and sell it, just pure delight in Yahuwah's rest for heart set free. No buy and sell it, just pure delight in Yahuwah's rest for heart set free. No buy and sell it, just pure delight in Yahuwah's rest for heart set free. From week to week, this truth remains, a day of joy and touched by chains. Oh Yahuwah, my King, my rest, in your Sabbath I am blessed.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. My name's Jason.
I'm Caden.
I'm Jaden.
I'm Nicole.
I'm Eli.
And we are the Yahuwah and the Torah channel. And we thank you, everybody, for hanging out with us. We appreciate our little family that we have here. And we are blessed to have all of you guys that join us now and also in the future. We can't thank you enough. For those who do not know, we are the family. We are the people that believe that the first 5 books of Scriptures, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy, are doctrine for life. They are everything that we need to have in our life as a foundational basis for the rule set. And it will be the same rule set for a government that we will be under if we make it to the kingdom to come. So when we are obeying and being obedient to these laws, statutes, and commandments, we are setting a precedence for the world that we will hopefully encounter. And in this world that we will encounter, it is governed by our Messiah Yahushua. There were no J's in Hebrew. His name is not Jesus. Messiah Yahushua is going to be the governing guide for the kingdom to come. And so we want to make sure that all of these laws, statutes, and commandments are not foreign to us. In fact, they are so not foreign that we are told, and we are going to go over it, that we need to write them on our heart, mind, and soul, and they need to be as frontlets between our eyes. They are to be everything to us. And so with that, we wish you guys a Shabbat Shalom. And Cade, will you please open us up in prayer?
Heavenly Father, we thank you once again. Thank you for this Shabbat. We thank you for bringing this family back together, that we can all be here today to dive into your word, to dive into your commands, to find the greatness of your Torah, the greatness of your Son, the greatness of the words you have given to us that we should follow to this day. And we ask that your blessing upon us, that your Ruach is upon us today, that we are able to understand, we are able to comprehend what we are reading, what we are looking at today, that we are able to have a good conversation with your word, have a good conversation with the Ruach HaKodesh. Thank you for all in Jesus' name. Amen.
All right, Jade, will you please open us with our Shema?
Hear, O Israel, Yahuwah Elohim, Yahuwah is one. You shall love Yahuwah your Elohim with all your heart, and with all your being, and with all your might. And these words that I am commanding you today shall be in your heart, and you shall impress them upon your children, and shall speak of them when you sit in your house, and when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up. And shall bind them as a sign on your hand, and they shall be as frontlets between your eyes. And you shall write them on the doorposts of your house, and on your gates.
All right, and so these Torah commands are what we're talking about right here in this simple Shema. And Shema means to hear and obey in Hebrew. And so we aren't told just to hear, and we're not told just to obey. We're told to hear and obey. In fact, these things should be so much that we talk of them when we're sitting in the house. And when we're walking by the way, the Torah is a living, breathing system that when you embrace this system, you embrace a different lifestyle. And Torah keeping is not a religion. It is a lifestyle. The religions that we have of today, they will continually give you incorrect doctrine. They will tell you once saved, always saved. They will tell you all food has been made clean. They will tell you to worship on the wrong day. And it is when you learn these Torah commands that you understand the heart, mind, and soul of our Creator. And He has a better way for all of us. And the better way is when we are keeping Torah. The Torah will keep us alive. It'll keep us fit. It will keep our families fit. And it will keep us together. Many, many, many great things happen when you are keeping Torah. And until you start keeping Torah, it probably doesn't make a lot of sense. But once you are in Torah and once you have walked it for a little bit, it becomes very, very clear how it affects your life in all ways. With that, Ms. Nicole, will you please greet our brothers and sisters?
All right, we have the judge, we have Candy and Ruby, we have Curtis, we have Jeremy and Callan, Obi Lines, Chris, Richie James, daughter of Abraham, and the Grand. And if I missed anybody, I apologize. But
all right, and we appreciate you all out there, and come a little bit later. Shalom to you all. Now, what we are going to go through very slowly and very meticulously are these laws, statutes, and commandments that we're supposed to talk about in our house. We're supposed to walk with them and go to bed with them and wake up to them, and they should be a part of everything that we have. And if we don't know them, there's no way that we can even obey that commandment that we find in Deuteronomy 6. So with that, let us get into this. Commandment number 1, be fruitful.
Multiply, replenish the earth, subdue it, have dominion over the fish, fowl, and every living creature.
The herb bearing and every tree is for food.
Men and women should build their own families. Master sin. Every clean moving thing that lives shall eat food for you.
Do not eat the blood.
Walk before me and be perfect. Guard Yahuwah's covenant, laws, statutes, and commandments. Every male shall be circumcised at 8 days old. Teach your children the commands and guard the way of Yahuwah. Remember Yahuwah's name for all generations. Keep the Passover, Pesach. Keep the feast of unleavened bread, the festival of Matzah. There is one Torah for the stranger and the Hebrew. Sanctify all firstborn to Yahuwah. There are no mighty ones before Yahuwah. You shall not make graven images. Do not bring Yahuwah's name to naught. Keep the Shabbat. Honor your parents. Do not kill. Do not break wedlock. Do not steal. Do not make false accusations against your neighbor. Do not covet anything of your neighbor's. Do not make an altar from rock that tool has touched. Do not go up to the altar by the steps. If a man steals cattle, you shall restore it 5 times. Yahuwah's laws for criminals. Do not lie with beasts. No sacrifices to other Elohim. Do not oppress a stranger, a fatherless, or a widow. Do not charge your brother interest. If you borrow your neighbor's raiment, you must return him before sunset. Do not curse the ruler of your people. Do not eat what is torn of any beast. No false report. Do not follow a multitude of evil. Do not judge unrighteously against the poor. Bring back your enemy's cattle if you find it going astray. Help the animals of your enemy. Stay away from rumors and gossipers. Take no bribes. Do not oppress a stranger. Love the stranger. Give your land rest in the 7th year. Do not mention any pagan names. Keep the feast of Yahuwah. Do not cook your goat in his mother's milk. Obey the messenger Yahuwah sends before you. Do not bow down to other Elohim. Serve Yahuwah. Make no covenant with other Elohim or outsiders of the land.
Do not make or use this anointing oil on a normal person. Do not make or use perfume on a normal person.
Do not eat the fat.
Do what you say you are going to do.
Return what is your neighbor's.
Obey Yahuwah's dietary laws.
Women's time of separation.
Obey Yahuwah's hygiene laws.
Keep the Day of Atonement, Yom HaKippurim.
Do not uncover the nakedness of your family.
Do not take your woman's sister for wife.
Do not lie with a woman in her uncleanness.
You shall not sacrifice your children to Moloch.
Do not be a sodomite.
Be Kodesh, holy.
Do not reap the corn of your field, or you shall not glean your vineyard.
Do not deal falsely or defraud your neighbor.
Do not lie or be a liar.
Pay your workers for the day's wage. They are due.
Do not harm the disabled.
Do not endanger your neighbor.
Do not hate your brother.
Rebuke your neighbor for his sin.
Love your neighbor as yourself.
Do not diverse your cattle.
Do not mingle your seed.
Do not mingle linen and wool.
Do not lie with a taken woman.
Do not eat the fruit of the trees for 3 years.
Do not practice sorcery.
Do not round your beard or the corners of your head.
Do not cut yourself for the dead.
Do not get tattoos.
Do not prostitute your daughter.
Do not defile your temple.
Do not consult the medium.
Respect your elders.
Have correct weights and measures.
Do not walk in the bearers of libations.
Keep the feast of first fruits, Shavuot, Omer count, Pentecost.
Keep the Feast of Trumpets, Yom Kippur.
Keep the feast of Sukkot, Shemini Atzeret.
If you blaspheme the name of Yahuwah, you shall be put to death.
If you kill your neighbor's animal, you must give him another.
Repay injury for injury.
Confess your honor the Yobel, the Jubilee year.
Confess your sins to Yahuwah and repay who you have trespassed against.
The Torah of being a Nazir.
Wear zizit on the four corners of your garments.
The laws of whoever touches the corpse.
Follow Yahuwah's law of inheritance.
The law of keeping your oath to Yahuwah.
Do not add or take away from the word.
Guard your soul.
Learn to fear Yahuwah.
You shall love Yahuwah with all your heart.
Find the laws upon your hand and the frontlets between your eyes.
Write the Torah, the laws, on your doorposts.
Do not tempt Yahuwah.
Do what is right and good in the sight of Yahuwah.
Do not be afraid of your enemies.
Remember Yahuwah.
Circumcise your heart.
Cleave to Yahuwah.
Swear by his name.
Destroy graven images.
Do not make an idol of Yahuwah as the pagans do to their Elohim.
Rejoice in all Yahuwah has blessed you with.
Do not do what is right in your own eyes.
Do not hearken to the words of the false prophets.
Do not make any baldness between your eyes for the dead.
You shall not eat any abominable thing.
I'll give to a stranger clean food that dies itself, but you shall not eat of it.
Give tithe of your increase of seed year by year.
Laws of the end of the 7-year release.
Do not borrow from the nations.
Do not harden your heart, nor shut your hand from the poor.
Guard month 1 of Yahuwah's calendar.
3 times a year all males shall appear before Yahuwah.
You shall make judges and officers in all your gates.
Do not plant Asherah poles near the altar.
There must be 2 or 3 witnesses.
Hearken unto the Nabai Yahuwah has chosen.
The prophet test of Deuteronomy.
Do not remove your neighbor's property line.
How to deal with a false witness among Torah keepers.
The first child shall get double portions.
If your brother's cattle or clothes are lost and you find them, you must return them.
A woman should not wear what pertains to a man, nor a man wear what pertains to a woman.
If you find a bird's nest with the mother and the babies or eggs, take the babies, but not the mother.
If you build a new house with a flat roof that is able to be lived on, you must put a railing around it.
Do not be a prostitute.
Do not use dirty money.
The law of divorce.
Do not take a person's millstone for a pledge.
If you lend to your brother, do not enter his house to get your payment. He must bring it to you. Return his clothing before sunset if that was his pledge.
Do not pledge a hired servant that is poor and needy.
Every man shall be put to death for his own sin.
Do not go back for the forgotten sheep in the field. Leave it for the stranger, fatherless, and widow.
Do not muzzle your ox when he treads out grain.
If your brother dies and has no child, you should take his wife and name the firstborn after your brother.
At the end of 7 years, you are to read the Torah at the feast of Sukkot.
Okay, so there we go. These are the laws, statutes, and commandments. And I don't have an answer for daughter of Abraham because I don't know if we should like jump into that because we'll be reading the entire chapter, going through that, trying to figure this out. Maybe I will read this after Shabbat and take a look at it, unless somebody wants to look at it. What, do anyone have any idea what's it saying in there?
429 is Jubilees.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we'll just go take a tour. Here we are. We're taking a tour. Jubilees. Where's Jubilees? Right here. Jubilees 4-2.
429.
Yeah, but she said.
How could that cover when Jubilees 4:2-3 happened?
Jubilees 4:2 is in the first year of the third Yovel. Cain slew Hevel because Elohim accepted the offering of Hevel and did not accept the offering of Cain. And he slew him in the field, and his blood cried from the ground to the Shamaim, lamenting because he had slain him. All right,
Okay.
so what now? 429. So 429 is, and at the close of the 19th Yovel, in the 7th week in the 6th year, Adam died, and all his sons buried him in the land of his creation, and he was the first to be buried in the earth.
Okay.
What's the question?
We can explain that. So basically, she's wondering, since Havel already died, how is it possible that Adam was the first one to be buried? What happened was the earth wouldn't accept Havel. It kept spitting him out. Every time that Cain tried to bury him, it kept spitting him out.
Yeah, and so that is also, where's that at? That is in
I think that's in...
Adam and Eve, isn't it?
I want to say it
Yeah.
was.
I think it's in Adam and Eve. Yeah, and so there was an issue when they were burying
The
Cain.
blood kept making the ground so muddy that he just kept coming back.
Yeah, so,
Spitting him out.
and according to the book of Adam and Eve, he was in the cave of treasures. They actually wrapped him up and they put him in there. So that's that. I don't know so much. Let's see. Where are we at, John?
We're on number
19. Yep.
Yeah. So there's a lot of good stuff. That's a good question, though. I mean, that's definitely a good question. So, okay, so here we are into the book of Numbers 19 as we are cruising through the Torah, and we're definitely getting through it here. So, somebody want to give me a breakdown of where we are at?
Before you do that, she wants to know, was he ever able to be buried?
I can't remember how that went down. I mean, I don't. Do you guys remember? Anyone remember that? We're
I think
thinking.
he was just in the cave of treasures with the fathers.
No, remember kept his body? They kept his body.
Yeah, they kept his body,
Kept
In
it
the
wrapped
cave-
up.
but it was in the cave of
treasures.
treasures.
Mm-hmm.
And none
And
of them
so-
got buried until right before the flood.
Yeah, so
Because they
I.
were all in the cave of treasures.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly if there's an actual testament to that or when it was, but in the book of Adam and Eve, they talk about at one point he didn't come back to life, but he and Adam were they were all spun out in there over what was happening, and they got up and they were going around. It was kind of like the times when Messiah. When he died, and then there's the account where the bodies, everyone rose from the grave and was walking around. It was kind of strange. There's some strange stuff in scriptures, definitely. Okay, so here we are. Let us get into this. Somebody give me a quick breakdown.
We are in the days of Moses and Aaron. They are leading the people through the desert. They have been cursed for 40 years to wander the desert until this generation all passed away because they were scared of the giants and they cried and had some issues. So Moshe told the people to put on tzitzits. They fought Korach. Korach decided to rise up. He said, I want to be Yah's main guy. I don't know why you guys are chosen. I'm a Levite. I should be the one doing it, not you two. And he ended up doing strange fire, and he ended up getting consumed by the earth. He and his family and all the people that were siding with him. And then the people were still complaining that they killed Korach, so they got fire consumed them, and they had some issues. And then in the chapter, we also learned that he chose Aaron. He's like, I'll have Aaron put all your rods, the leader's rods together, and I will, whatever grows something on it, then that'll be who I choose. And he chose Aaron, and he showed that his people are Moshe and Aaron, and they are the head Levites.
All right, so here we go. And Yahuwah spoke to Moshe and to Aaron, saying, This is the law of the Torah which Yahuwah has commanded, saying, Speak to the children of Yisrael, that they bring you a red heifer, a perfect one, in which there is no blemish, and on which a yoke has never come. Eleazar, the Kohanim, and he shall bring it outside the camp before him. And Eleazar, the Kohanim, shall take some of its blood with his finger, and sprinkle some of its blood 7 times towards the front of the tent of appointment. And the heifer shall be burned before his eyes. He burns its hide, and its flesh, and its blood, and its dung. And the Kohanim shall take cedar wood and hyssop and scarlet, and throw them into the midst of the fire, burning the heifer. Then the Kohen shall then wash his garments, and shall bathe his body in water, and afterward come into the camp. But the Kohanim is unclean until evening. Why is the Kohanim unclean?
Because he touched the corpse, the old blood.
Death, yeah. And he who is burning it washes his garments in water, and shall bathe his body in water, and is unclean until evening. And a man shall gather up the ashes of the heifer and shall place them outside the camp in a clean place. And they shall be kept for the congregation of the children of Israel for the water for uncleanness. It is for cleansing from sin. And he who gathers the ashes of the heifer shall wash his garments and is unclean until evening. And it shall be a law forever to the children of Israel and to the stranger who sojourns in their midst. He who touches the dead of any human being is unclean for 7 days. So these are the laws of the hygiene laws that are in there. Things like this. This is applies to us as well. He is to cleanse himself with the water on the 3rd day, and on the 7th day he is clean. But if he does not cleanse himself on the 3rd day, then on the 7th day he is not clean. Anyone who touches the dead of a human being and does not cleanse himself defiles the Mishkan of Yahuwah, and that being shall be cut off from Yisrael. He is unclean, for the water for uncleanness was not sprinkled on him. His uncleanness is still upon him.
I think being cut off from Israel look like that kick out of the camp, go your own way.
Yeah, I don't think it's good. I don't think I don't think being cut off from Israel. I think it's like, out the doors. I don't think it's a death sentence, but I mean it's definitely.
People.
I don't think so. I think
Just you.
Yeah, I think it sounds like you because it says that being shall be cut off. It doesn't say that being's family shall be cut off. So.
Yeah, but what if you had a wife? What if you had was your wife going to go with you?
I don't think so. Well, I don't know. I don't know if she will or will not. I mean, I suppose. Would you go with me if I was kicked out of the camp? You go with me? No. Okay, so she's gonna go with me. Leave, even though we're exiled from all of Israel.
I'd follow you everywhere.
Okay, all right. So here we are. That's a dedicated wife.
The daughter of Abraham has a question. Joseph fell on his father when he died, and Scripture doesn't say anything about him being unclean afterwards.
There's a lot of people that fell on a lot of dead people. Elijah did it.
Definitely.
Elijah literally was on top of a dead person, breathing into him.
Yeah, and it doesn't say anything about
Being unclean. There's
yeah.
a lot of. I'm sure they cleaned off, right? That was their laws. They knew the laws. I'm sure they cleaned off afterwards and dealt with that. But a lot of times it doesn't describe those specific details.
Yeah, there's a lot of details, right? We only get partial things, right? And sometimes in some chapters, it's like years of stuff when it's like one chapter. So we read it, and we just can't really gather the time or the procedures or any of the stuff out there because we don't have all the details, right? That's the thing about scriptures is there's a lot of dispute about books like Jasher and Jubilees, various books like that, and sometimes they don't line up, even in the Basora. We have stuff that doesn't completely line up, but you are dealing with human beings that are scribing this stuff up. And if you guys tried to write a book about something you saw last year and try to get all the details right, you're going to miss it. In fact, you could have everyone in this family write a report about what they saw about something, and it's going to be a little bit different, right? We're not all going to have the exact same details, or we're not going to all see the same stuff, and things get lost. As humans, things get lost. But for the majority of what we don't have any conflicts with things like Torah commands, right? We don't have things that somebody has said later in the Apocrypha that you can drink blood or you can eat fat. There's nothing like that. The Torah is the Torah, and when we get to aesthetics like certain details, I don't get hung up on them, and I know a lot of guys do, but I don't. I look at scripture for what it is, and if I had something that said a Torah command that I knew in my heart was different, then I would think that the book that I was reading is very suspect. So let us continue on with this. Anyone know where we're at?
I think we're on
14?
13 or 14.
14. This is the Torah when a man dies in a tent. All who come into the tent and all who are in the tent are unclean for 7 days. And every open vessel which has no cover fastened on it is unclean. Anyone in the open field who touches someone slain by a sword, or who has died, or a bone of a man, or a grave, is unclean for 7 days. So these are when you guys go to my mom used to take me to the graveyard every Memorial Day, and we would go onto the graves and take a piece of paper and some crayons, and then we would put the paper on top of the grave, and then we would just etch onto the grave, and it would come out on the piece of paper. Anyone know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And we were definitely unclean, right? It's probably something that we wouldn't want to do, but if we do, we know that we're definitely unclean.
Interesting tradition.
Yeah, interesting tradition. That's mom. Okay, 17.
The daughter of Abraham has another question. Is a casket the open vessel?
Yeah,
I would
say an open vessel is definitely, a dead body sitting there is an open vessel. All of these things definitely, I would say, qualifies for that. So yeah, when you guys go to an open casket funeral or something and look at the dead, which they just did to the Pope fella that kicked the bucket. I won't go anything. I'm sure I could get easily banned off YouTube if I start.
Another weird detail is the first person they ever had embalmed was Joseph. That was the first mention of being embalmed.
Oh right, because he came out of Mitzrayim.
Egyptians, the Egyptians were all
did that.
sad and they had their own special burial process.
Yeah.
So it's different.
All right, a couple more questions.
All right.
Ricky James says, I understand that Aaron and his sons were given the most Kadesh of offerings to eat, but anything else was to be burnt and disregarded?
So they were given the best of everything. They were given the best goats, the best sheep, the best everything that they had. Right, that was theirs. Anything that wasn't the best was not offered to them, but anything else left over was burnt for the rest of the sacrifice. They was already given sacrifice. They ate what was there. That was their.
Yeah, they got the best of the best.
That was their
on
portion in Israel. Was they basically were set up for life.
Right, because they got no land, they got no, so that was their inheritance. They got that.
Right, but I think it also the Levites. I mean, they were able to eat a lot of this as well, right?
Yeah.
It didn't just.
No, it was like all the Levites were just meant to be fed. Everyone that was in there working the temple that time was supposed to be fed by that sacrifices.
But anything else that was excess was definitely burned.
It was burned with fire. It wasn't kept
Right,
overnight.
and you can look at that when King David went and he was on the run and he broke into he didn't break in, but when
It
he
was
went,
the Levite temple.
yeah, we went into a Levite temple and they were all starving to death, and it was unkodesh for him to eat it, but he didn't get struck down by Yah because these guys were like starving to death and like literally on the run.
All right.
So,
One more question.
yep.
Curtis says, are you unclean if you willingly go to a funeral?
I don't know.
I mean, you're not touching any dead. I mean,
Unless you touch the dead.
yeah.
then-
touch
Or touch the coffin.
Well, it's,
Yeah,
yeah,
if you're pallbearer, you're probably unclean.
pallbearer. I mean, touching the coffin, probably part of that.
They have the open casket viewing before.
The open casket, that would-
People
that
go
would
and
be-
touch the body
They
before.
don't touch the body.
That would be an open. I mean, that would be open death.
I mean, there's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with being unclean. This
Yeah.
is a normal thing in life. You just need to clean up when you're done.
And one of the things is a lot of these when these guys were unclean, it was the priests and things like this. And what we're talking about is we're talking about service in the temple, and how you would be unclean, and if you went and tried to represent Elohim Most High in the temple and you were unclean, then you're in trouble. And so yeah, all of us get unclean. At certain parts, especially if you're on like a farm or a ranch and you're dealing with dead cows or dead things. That just happens. But again, it's not, you don't want to be unclean, but it's not something that's bad. And this is why we have a ritual to sanitize ourselves. All right. Anything else?
Yep, you got it. So
If
first
you-
5 minutes.
yeah,
of
if you're
Curtis's.
a Nazarite though, I would
Yeah,
not stick around that. I would
Yeah,
not.
definitely don't
that
go,
breaks your
'cause
Nazarite
that
vow.
would-
Yeah, you would break your Nazarite vow. You'd
Someone might die next to you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you can't be around death when you have the Nazarite vow.
So if we touch a body at a funeral, do we pray to become clean again, or is there a procedure we do? Yeah, we don't have the procedures. We don't have the red heifers. We don't have any of this stuff right here, and I wouldn't try to make anything. None of us are qualified as Levites, right? We would end up, even Aaron's kids, they were qualified Levites, and they got a little too heavy on the sauce, and they got burned up because they were outside of it and offered up strange fire. So. I would pray that Yah makes us clean. We have a lot of rules that at sunset, when evening comes, we're clean. You would probably fall under that same thing, but I don't think there's any way that we can follow these kind of procedures because we just there's no way to do it. So, all right. To clarify, I know a brother that went to a funeral and he's denying it to start over.
So basically, he's saying that didn't make him unclean because he went to the funeral. But
Yeah, I don't know so much as if it would make you unclean, right? If you're touching the graves, you're touching the caskets, if you have the dead or something of the sort, that would make you unclean. So I think you're probably okay going to a funeral, I would imagine. I
no,
think.
because you're not supposed to be around death at all.
Says what?
In the Nazarite vows.
Oh, he's a Nazarite?
Yeah.
Oh, this is a Nazarite. Yeah,
I think that's what he means.
Yeah, I don't know. If you had a Nazarite vow, I don't know so much as I would go near the dead. I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, regular, I don't think it's an issue, but I mean, if you are trying to keep yourself set apart for Elohim, and being near the dead is a no-go. Okay, where are we at now, Phyllis?
17 or 18?
I'm on 17.
17.
Let me start at 16. Anyone in the open field who touches someone slain by a sword or who has died, or a bone of a man or a grave is unclean for 7 days. All right, so there's a little more stuff, right? So if somebody has been killed and they're dead, obviously that's going to make you unclean. The bone of a man, so all these crazy Satanists that have the skulls of humans and their little candle coming out of them and they're doing their crazy skull stuff, that would make you unclean. Or the grave. So you're unclean for 7 days. And for the unclean being, they shall take some of the ashes of the heifer, burnt for cleansing from sin, and running water shall be put on them in a vessel. And a clean man shall take hyssop and dip it in the water, and shall sprinkle it on the tent, and on all the vessels, and on the beings who are there, or on the one who touched a bone, or the slain, or the dead, or a grave. Yeah, so I would definitely say a casket is going to make you unclean. Definitely, you wouldn't want to be touching that. And you know, it's weird. It's weird going to funerals, especially where they're like satanic funerals, right? You have all these people, and you know that's the thing about funerals is everybody sits there and tells you how good this guy was, when you know half the people are going to jump up and say this guy was terrible, but they're going to hold their tongues. So, but the point is that, you know, like some of these Catholic ceremonies, you're involved in a satanic ceremony during the burying of the dead and things like that. And so I'm not so sure that you would want to do things like that. I'm sure it's not too big of a deal, but...
You have to pause again. I got a couple more questions for you. Daughter of Abraham, she wants to know, can you please explain how someone can be a Nazarite in this day and age?
Well, how do we be a Nazarite, fellas?
Well, we first take a vow to Elohim.
Right.
And we don't shave our heads.
We start with shaving our head to begin with, don't we? Isn't that the vow? Don't we shave our head to begin with?
I can't remember for sure.
We'll have to look that up. Eli, look it up.
And then we're not allowed to eat any grapes or drink any wine or alcohol.
Nothing that comes from the vine.
Yeah.
Nothing comes from the vine.
You don't take any razor to your head.
Yeah.
Basically, you're becoming holy. You're trying to become holy. You're trying to become closer.
Yeah, very set apart. And I know when you end the Nazarite vow, you shave your head. That is part of it. I can't remember if that's at the beginning of this.
All right, next
Eli's
question.
looking it up. Yeah, what's up? While we're looking this up.
So Richie James says, I get it's not literal that the seed of Abraham are to be numerous as the stars, but we also read that few find the narrow gate, and the devil deceives the whole world. How is that?
So, well, here's the thing is, you know, when you read the book of Revelations and it talks about like tons and tons and tons of people up there that have been saved throughout the times and the generations. Now you are going to have before Messiah came, you were literally saved by your obedience. You were saved by your works. And that is flaming fire to everybody out there. It's like, oh, you can't be saved by your works. When it is very clear that you are saved by your works. You're saved by doing the Torah and being obedient, which is works. And so you have a tremendous amount of people out there that, you know, grew up in Yisrael. You had many, many generations. You have from Adam all the way to Abraham. You have all of Jacob's kids, and you know they were probably saved. So there is tremendous amount of people in these 6,000 years that we have been alive that have been saved. Now, when you look further and further, and you look at the technology, and you look at the world that we are in right now, nobody gives a rip about Elohim. Nobody gives a dang about his commandments. When you look at religion in general, you have 100,000 different religions, and every single one of them run contrary to what the scriptures say. You have billions of Catholics out there, and they don't give a darn about the Torah. They don't give a darn about anything. They care about their mass, and they care about their little holy water being sprinkled on them, doing the sign of the cross, doing all this stuff, and praying to Mary. That's what they think is going to save them. But according to scriptures, our Messiah says, "Depart from me, you who work lawlessness." So if you look at, you know, even in Matthew 7, that same verse that has "Depart from me, you who work lawlessness," it gives us that example of that small gate. And that small gate, it says a lot of people make it through that small gate. But again, there's a wide path that leads to destruction. And Messiah very clearly says right there that most don't make it. So right now, according to some world stats, right, we have 9 billion people out there. Now, when you look around at these 9 billion people, how many are Torah keepers? And let me show you a little bit more. I was talking to my brother in the Arizona State Penitentiary. His name is Barry Chappell. And there's 1,500 people in that prison. There were 5 people that took Passover out of 1,500. And even then, a couple of them weren't even like, they were just simply doing it because they wanted a different food. They didn't want the same slop that comes through the rest of the thing. So out of 1,500, there's 3 people. That is few, right? There's just not a lot of people. All right, Eli, what you got?
So it never says in the Bible at all that they shave their heads before. The only people that do that are the zoos.
Oh, the zoos do that?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, and so that's, for those who don't know what the zoos are, that's the only word we can use on YouTube without getting kicked off. So they are the zoos, and hopefully you guys can figure that out, right? So yeah, what else is there? Is there anything else that says?
No, just it only just says at the end they shave their head. Never anything mentioning in the beginning.
Yeah.
That's what the Grand said. Shave
When
the
vow
vow is
fulfilled. Okay. Yep. Okay. And so yeah, you could definitely become a Nazarite, right? You set yourself apart. You start looking like a long-haired hippie guy, and that's cool. Then, according to the Nazarite vow, you stay away from vines of that. You set yourself apart. Don't touch the dead, and you stay as Kodesh as you can, and you make sure that you keep this oath to Yahuwah until whatever happens, at which point you shave your head, and your vow is over.
Is cremation against Scripture?
It doesn't say anything about it. A lot of people, we saw something that I don't know which religion it is. It says when you're burned up, your soul is trapped in here. But we don't have anything about that. The thing about cremation is it's extremely hot. And if you were just burned like in a building or burned in a house or something like that, your bones, I think, would still be there. I think you have to get like 3,000 or 4,000 degrees to actually burn the bone. So I don't know if it's natural, but we do know that the dead in Messiah will rise, and I don't know if your ashes are going to be coming up. I don't know, I don't know, because when you're dead and somebody cremates you, could you be doomed after that? I don't think so. I think your soul is what will live on, and I think this flesh is going to be gone. I don't know. The Bible doesn't say anything about it, though. So, all right. Let's see. Anything else?
So it's 0.333% of the population in the prison.
Yeah. So of that one.
Yeah.
So there you go. That tells us, there's not a lot. Look around you guys, right? How many Torah keepers do you have on your block? How many do you have? How many Church of Torah do you see happening on a Shabbat day? Right? We are the minority, which is extremely exciting because this is what we want to be, right? We want to be set apart. And when you look at Scriptures and when you look at Torah, it's a good path. It is a good life. It's a far worse life living in complete sin and being an abominable everything, right? We just don't want to walk contrary to what our Creator wants us to walk. And like I tell my brothers in chains, especially the guys on death row, eternity is a long time. We can't fathom it. We just can't fathom it. But it is going to make this life that we're lead like a vapor. It's just, we're going to look back at this, right? 400 years into eternity, we're going to look back on the little 80 years that we had to live here, and we're going to go, wow, you know what? We chose right. We did right. And time is so short for all of us. None of us know when we're going to take our last breath. None of us know when the opportunity that we have to choose the correct path is going to be over, which is why every day is the day to change your life, to walk this Torah, to have the faith of our Messiah, and to be part of this itty bitty tiny little group of people that we have. Okay. And they follow Yahuwah. Yeah, just reading Jeremy's thing. About being Abraham's seed, yes, many are from Abraham. That doesn't mean they follow Yahuwah, like Ishmael, for example. Yeah, and you're right. Yeah, Jeremy's exactly right. There's a lot. Yeah, that's right. There was a tremendous amount of people, all of Ishmael's people, and you know, when you look into just the history of Israel in itself, before they went into captivity in the 700 BCE and 500 BCE, these people didn't care about Yahuwah, right? Very few kings actually gave a darn about what Yahuwah wanted, and they were the minority of all the kings. The rest of the kings, they were having idols and all of this stuff out there, and so all of those people were probably doomed. But again, Revelation does talk about a lot of people at the end, but over 6,000 years, right? There's going to be sporadic people here and there. It's not going to be just this everybody. All right. Eli, look that up. A daughter of Abraham is going on to this. I'm going to continue reading while he's looking this up. Okay. 19. Okay, and the clean one shall sprinkle the unclean on the 3rd day, and on the 7th day, and on the 7th day he shall cleanse himself, and shall wash his garments and bathe in water, and shall be clean in the evening. Again, when we're dealing with the death, the timeline is 7 days, and you have to get sprinkled on the 3rd day with this concoction. 20. But the man who is unclean and does not cleanse himself, that being shall be cut off from among the assembly, because he has defiled the Mishkan of Yahuwah. Water for uncleanness has not been sprinkled on him. He is unclean. Now this goes to the principles of the Levites had to remain Kodesh, very much set apart. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't, but these guys were tending to the temple. And this is one of the amazing things about our Messiah. When it comes to our Messiah, and you guys read the book of Hebrews, he becomes the perfect priest. He doesn't have to deal with all of this. He doesn't have to, I'm sure if he touched the dead, he would probably go through the same ceremony. But as far as having to ordain himself because he has sinned in his thoughts or in his actions or anything of the sort, that's why we have our Messiah, and he is the perfect priest. He's our Melchizedek priest, and he's the one which is going to govern the new kingdom very, very well. 21. And it shall be a law for them forever. Forever, guys, right? Not until the milk expires, not until the 1900s, not until 1800s. It's forever. And the one who sprinkles the water for uncleanness washes his garments, and the one who touches the water for uncleanness is unclean until evening. And whatever the unclean being touches is unclean, and the being who touches it is unclean until evening. Okay. Let's see. What is Jasher 18 through 20 say?
15 through 18.
Okay, what does it say?
So this is talking about where Joseph was about to reveal himself to Benjamin when he was sitting on the throne, and and he ordered them to bring before him his map of the stars, whereby Joseph knew all the times. And Joseph said to Benjamin, I have heard the Ephraim are acquainted with all wisdom. Do you know anything of this? And Benjamin said, your servant also has knowledge and all wisdom which my father taught me. And Joseph said to Benjamin, look not at this instrument, understand where your brother Joseph is in Mitzrayim, who you said went down to Mitzrayim. And Benjamin saw the instrument with the map of the stars of the Shamim, and he was wise and looked therein to know where his brother was. And Benjamin divided the whole land of Mitzrayim into 4 divisions. And he found that he who was sitting on the throne before him was his brother Joseph. And Benjamin wondered greatly, and when Joseph saw that his brother Benjamin was so astonished, he said to Benjamin, what have you seen, and why are you astonished?
So, I mean, number one, it doesn't say what this instrument is. It doesn't say that it's something where these guys had mapped out the stars themselves and simply had done what everybody does. There's a lot of people that map out the constellations. There's a lot of people that map out the stars. And it's not saying this guy's doing fortune telling or anything of the sort. Whatever clues he was getting, and I don't know exactly what this instrument was that they are looking at, but whatever he was looking at, he figured out where his brother was, and he could have been sitting there getting all sorts of clues on different things. And we know the Egyptians mapped the stars. We know all of these guys mapped the sun and moon, and we're looking into it and all these things. So I don't know, what was the question on that?
She asked if it was witchcraft.
Oh, witchcraft. I don't think it was witchcraft. I mean, it doesn't say what the instrument was. It says an instrument, right? And so who knows what it is? I mean, it could have been a ginormous table that was up into something. So these are the speculatory things that you can, throw away the baby with the bathtub, or, obviously we know we don't do witchcraft. We don't do anything of the sort. and we just don't know what the instrument was. It's inconclusive to what exactly we're even dealing with here. All right, take us into our next thing.
Luke 2.
Okay, Luke 2 is where we are going into, guys. And so for those of you guys out there that have been following this reading with this, we are rolling. We are rolling through this. All right, anybody, give me a breakdown where we are at inside the book of Luke.
So we are in the early days of Messiah. We went through Matthew and Mark, and now we are in Luke. In the last chapter of Luke, we learned a lot about John the Baptist, Yochanan, a Mercer, and his dad, Zechariah, and his mom. And we learned about him that they were very old when they were born. They didn't think they were going to have children, kind of like Abraham and Sarah, but they did. And we also learned that John the Baptist is a cousin of Messiah.
Right. Okay. So, and then daughter of Abraham, I guess I'm confused as to why he was using the stars. So you can look in telescopes, right? And they will have, they have little computers and all these things that are set up in there, and you can look and you can move around the stars. People can find out where they are at based upon stars. You can figure out a tremendous thing. Seasons come and go based upon the constellations and the way the stars are moving. And so we don't know what the conversation was that Joseph was actually having. So it could have been something where he looks down and looks at the stars and is able to see the map of where the stars are at this point. And then his brother gives him another hint, and he's like, okay, well, he's sitting under this constellation, and he could have. I mean, there's a lot of this is all speculative.
We're missing a big part, right? What does it mean he divided into 4 parts? What tool was he using?
Yeah, and how did he? When he divided, it's obviously some sort of instrument, right? Dividing this into 4 parts. There's a lot of mysteries that we don't know. The mysteries that we do know is that we know Torah, and we don't have any kind of mysteries when it comes to the ways that we should be obedient to our Creator. So all the rest of these things are speculatory, right? We read them, we understand them, but if there's something that changes the way that you keep Torah for the negative part, then it's something obviously you wouldn't want to have in your doctrine. For us and for our family, I think there's enough corroborating evidence inside of the book of Jasher, as well as Jubilees. And I know a lot of people fight against Jubilees, a lot of people fight against Jasher. I think it's a good enough that we have this stuff, and none of this stuff changes what we have as far as Torah belief. And I know Jeremy doesn't like Jasher because he thinks like the guys are like heroic, or they're like they have superpowers or something like that. And I think that was one thing he was telling me a long time ago. And it is. It's one of these things that obviously either these guys had some sort of superpowers that were given to them by the creator of the universe to be able to wipe out the kind of people that they had, or somebody has spun up some other tales inside of it. But at the end of the day, there is enough corroborating stories that don't go against what scriptures say and any of this stuff. So it just adds to it. And so, take everything with a grain of salt. Keep the Torah as foundational basis. Okay, here we are. Luke 2. And it came to be in those days that a decree went out from Kaiser Augustus for all the world to be registered. This took place as a first registration while Quirinius was governing Syria. And all were going to be registered, each one to his own city. And Joseph also went up from Galilee, out of the city of Nazareth, to Yehuda, to the city of David, which is called Bethlehem, because he was of the house of the lineage of David, to be registered with Miriam, who was engaged to him, being pregnant. And it came to be that while they were there, the days were filled for her to give birth. And she gave birth to her firstborn Ben, and wrapped him up, and laid him down in a feeding trough, because there was no room for them in a lodging place. And in the same country there were shepherds living out in the fields, keeping watch over their flock by night. And I think I'm going to take us into the book of Nazarene here, because the book of the Nazarene tells us a little bit more than what we have here, right? We all have the people away in the manger. Remember that song, everyone? And it was, we don't, everybody thinks it's just like a little motel, or they had a motel that had a stable connected to it. In the book of the Nazarene, it tells us a little bit more. They say it's like a little cave of some kind that is out there. And so I don't know where to go with that, other than there's more to this little part. And again, we don't have everything. We don't have the stories. We have parts of all these stories that we have to put together. And one day we'll have Messiah, and he'll let us know what's up. Someday we can hopefully hang out with Moshe and all the people that came and did it and walk the Torah as well as they could, and we'll get these answers. But for now, we have to keep with what we got. 8. And in the same country, there were shepherds living out in the fields, keeping watch over their flock by night. And look, a messenger of Yahuwah stood before them, and the esteem of Yahuwah shone around them, and they were greatly afraid. Look up real quick in Israel, what is the temperature in Israel in December? So everybody has our Messiah. We have December 25th, and the December 25th aligns with Saturnalia. It aligns with a pagan holiday, and between the Catholics and all of the powers that be, it is, more than likely these guys that were out in their fields were not out there in the middle of the winter night. And so this is something to consider, because there's, we have September 11th, and as close as we can come to figuring this out, we believe that Messiah was born on the Feast of Trumpets, and it was probably close to September 11th, which is why they hoaxed everybody with, the no planes hitting the buildings being detonated thing.
So it looks to be around 50 degrees.
50 degrees?
And it's raining most of the time, too.
Raining. Okay. Well, we don't think it was in December at all. 10th. And the messenger said to him, 9. And look, a messenger of Yahuwah stood before them, and the esteem of Yahuwah shone around them, and they were greatly afraid. And the messenger said to them, do not be afraid, for look, I bring you good news of great joy, which shall be to all people. Because there was born to you today in the city of David a Savior, who is Hamashiach, the Adon. And this is the sign for you. You shall find an infant wrapped up, lying in a feeding trough. And suddenly there was with the messenger a crowd of the host of the Shamaim, praising Elohim and saying, esteem to Elohim in the highest, and on the earth peace among men, with whom he is pleased. And it came to be, when the messengers had gone away from them into the Shamaim, that the shepherds said to each other, indeed, let us go to Bet Lechem and see this matter that has taken place, which the Adon has made known to us. And they made haste. They came in haste and found Miriam and Joseph and the infant lying in a feeding trough. And having seen, they made known the matter which was spoken to them concerning the child. And all those who heard marveled at what the shepherds said to them. But Miriam kept all these matters, considering them in her heart. And the shepherds returning, boasting and praising Elohim, for they had heard and seen as it was spoken to them. And when 8 days were completed for him to be circumcised, his name was called Yahushua, the name given by the messenger before he was conceived in the womb. And when the days of her cleansing according to the Torah of Moshe were completed, they brought him to Jerusalem to present him to Yahuwah. As it has been written in the Torah of Yahuwah, every male who opens the womb shall be Kodesh to Yahuwah. Now, one of the things here is that a lot of people think that our Messiah came to destroy the Torah, or that he didn't keep the Torah or anything else, but it is very, very clear here that even his mother and his dad kept Torah. You have two events right here that just prove that Torah was being kept by these guys and it was never ever taken. We have Miriam, who was cleansing herself, and we also have him being circumcised on the 8th day. What verse am I on, guys? It just took me to school.
I think you're on 23?
No, definitely not. We're on 23?
I think so, because you did the cleansing and everything. I think.
Am I really struggling with you guys finding where we're at?
Oh, I was on 23.
Where are we at?
I think 23 or 24.
Okay. It's 24. Actually, 23, 22, guys. Sorry. This is a real touchy app. Okay, 23. As it has been written in the Torah of Yahuwah, every male who opens the womb shall be called Kodesh to Yahuwah, and to give an offering according to what it is said in the Torah of Yahuwah, a pair of turtle doves or 2 young pigeons. And see, there was a man in Jerusalem whose name was Shimon, and this man was righteous and dedicated, looking for the comforting of Yisrael, and the Ruach HaKodesh was upon him. And it had been revealed to him by the Ruach HaKodesh that he would not see death before he sees Hamashiach of Yahuwah. And he came, stay reading with us, Eli. And he came in the Ruach into the Mikdash. And as the parents brought in the child, Yahushua, to do for him according to the usual practice of the Torah, then he took him up in his arms and barak him, barak Elohim, and said, now let your servant go in peace, O Adonai, according to your word. For my eyes have seen your deliverance, which you have prepared for the face of all the peoples, a light for the unveiling of the Gentiles, and the esteem of your people Yisrael. And Joseph and his mother were marveling at what was said about him. And Shimon baraked them and said to Miriam his mother, see, this one is appointed for a fall and rising of many in Yisrael, and for a sign spoken against. And a sword shall pierce through your own being also, so as to reveal the thoughts of many hearts. And there was Cana, and Nebiah, a daughter of Penuel, of the tribe of Asher. She was advanced in years, and lived with a husband 7 years from her maidenhood. And she was a widow of about 84 years, who did not leave the Mikdash, but served Elohim with fastings and prayers night and day. And she, coming in at that moment, gave thanks to Yahuwah, and spoke of him to all who were waiting for redemption in Jerusalem. And when they had accomplished all according to the Torah of Yahuwah, they returned to Galilee, to their city Nazareth. All right, let me see here. Anything in chat?
No.
10 to 50 degrees Fahrenheit. Thank you. Yeah, there we go. Eli, where'd you get that information at? You were wrong.
No,
What?
no.
No, Celsius.
It's
10 degrees
Celsius.
It's
10 degrees
50
Celsius.
degrees.
Oh, 10 to 50 degrees Fahrenheit is what she said.
So 10 Celsius is 50 degrees Fahrenheit. is
But
what
she
she's
also
saying.
said to 10 to... Anybody use Wally?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. When it says fasting and praying, was she starving herself? I don't think. Well, I'm sure she's starving. I mean, you always feel like you're starving when you're fasting. I don't know. I don't know if she's starving herself, but I think she was just fasting. A lot of fasting is good. Fasting cleanses the soul, heals the body. Okay. 39. And when they had accomplished all, according to the Torah of Yahuwah, they returned to Galilee, to their city Nazareth. And the child grew and became strong in spirit, being filled with wisdom, and the favor of Elohim was upon him. And his parents went to Jerusalem every year at the festival of Pesach. Again, we have his parents keeping Torah. They were abiding by Torah. And so Yahushua would have grown up in the Torah, doing what the Torah said. And when he was 12 years old, they went up to Jerusalem according to the practice of the festival. When they had accomplished the days, as they returned, the child Yahushua stayed behind in Jerusalem, and his parents did not know it. But thinking he was in the company, they went a day's journey and were seeking him among the relatives and friends. And not having found him, they returned to Jerusalem, seeking him. And it came to be after 3 days that they found him in the Mikdash, sitting in the midst of the teachers, both listening to them and asking them questions. And all who heard him were astonished at his understanding and answers. And having seen him, they were amazed. And his mother said to him, Son, Ben, why have you done this to us? See, your father and I have been anxiously seeking you. And yes, she has every right to scold the child, regardless of where he is. This is a mother and father's worst nightmare, is having your kid disappear. And I'm sure there were predators in those days, just like there are nowadays. And you just don't want to lose your kid. 49. And he said to them, Why were you seeking me? Did you not know that I had to be at that of my father? But they did not understand the word which he had spoken to them. And he went down with them and came to Nazareth, and was subject to them. But his mother kept all these matters in her heart. And Yahushua increased in wisdom and stature and in favor with Yahuwah and men. And, you get a lot of stuff from the book of the Nazarene that Messiah's own family, they thought he was a little touched. They thought he was a little crazy, right? Because he was definitely different from all things. Everything that he did in his human form was different. From hanging out in the temple when you're really young, to knowing the kind of things that he did, to having the wisdom that he had, he was definitely a different person. And so he lived a very troubled life. People were always against him. People always forsake him. People were always against him in all things. And even all the way to the stake, he was an anomaly. He was something that was different than anything that we have ever seen. And so that is his walk in Torah. That is his perfection in the walk in Torah. And it matters. It matters that we know that our Messiah is qualified to be our Messiah, to be our Melchizedek priest, and that he is definitely, he's definitely a great pick for the kingdom to come. So I guess that is it. Yeah, I think that is it. Jade, will you please close us out, please?
Yahuwah barak you and guard you. Yahuwah make his face shine upon you and show favor to you. Yahuwah lift his face upon you and give you peace.
All right, everybody. We love you. We hope you have a wonderful day. Much love to you.
Walking steady on this road you made. Every step guided by your ways. When I listen close, I understand all your truth held in your perfect plan. Rising higher than before, lifting praise from deep in my core. Lifting praise, Yahuwah, your presence sets me free. Dancing wild 'cause you're all I need. My heart alive with pure delight as I move within your light. Dancing, praising, celebrating. Your ways are true and I'm not waiting to lift my hands to you. In the morning when I rise to pray, in the evening as I end each day, every word you speak becomes my song, teaching me where I belong. Rising higher than before, your truth is what I'm living for. Living for Yahuwah, your presence sets me free. Dancing wild 'cause you're all I need. My heart alive with pure delight as I move within your light. Dancing, praising, celebrating. Your ways are true and I'm not waiting. So lift my hands to you. Your love surrounds me. Your love surrounds. Your truth has found me. Your truth has found every day, every way. Be setting me found every day, every way. Leading me, setting me. Yahuwah, your presence sets me free. Dancing wild 'cause you're all I need. My heart alive with pure delight as I move within your light. Dancing, praising, celebrating. Your ways are true and I'm not waiting to lift my hands to you. To lift my hands to you. Forever lifting praise to you.
All right, beautiful family. We love you a ton. We appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for being a part of this. May Yahuwah bless you and keep you. May his light forever shine on you. May Messiah Yahushua always be a part of your life, and may we all high five each other in the kingdom.